To help you understand how to use DATT, the dog agility training tool for tables, let me tell you how I use this app to help train Bob to perform a quality agility table. I started the application and this screen appeared. I noticed at the bottom were the tabs, Home, Statistics, Settings, and I was correctly on Home already, just like it said at the top of the window. Further, I saw DATT was ready to help train Bob, and the last time I worked with Bob was Wednesday the 5th. We were both ready, and I pressed the Workout with Bob button. I pressed the Prerequisites button, and the Prerequisites window appeared. Bob already knows about clickers, so I pressed the Understand and Response to Clickers area, and it was checked off. The next prerequisite has an arrow to the right, indicating that this prerequisite has more text to show me. Eventually, I completed all of the prerequisites, so I pressed the When Complete, Press Here button, which took me to a window showing all of the steps I needed to perform. The next appropriate step to take was highlighted. We were ready for step 1. Pressing the button, we moved on to the step window. This window is a bit more complicated. The instructions are printed in the middle of the window. The text can scroll to show more information about what needs to be performed at this step. Being the visually oriented person that I am, I pressed the video button and was shown an example of a dog handler team performing this step. Between the instruction text and the video button is information telling how often I should be working with Bob on this step, the number of times I do the instructions, what the instructions say, called iterations, and the maximum time to work with Bob each time we work. This is really helpful. I tend to overdo training sessions by going too long or performing too many iterations. By doing things with these limitations, I hope to end on a positive note so we both enjoy our training experiences. As good as this information and video were, I needed the information to tell me how to judge how good Bob would be performing this step. So I pressed the Success Criteria button. I was taken to a window with text that told me what Bob needed to do to show that this step was complete. Another video was available to show a dog completing the step successfully so I could compare Bob's performance and know when to proceed to the next step. When I was done with all of this information on the Success Criteria window, I pressed the Step button in the upper left corner to go back to the workout screen. Okay, we were ready with all the prerequisites and knowledge of what we were supposed to do, so I pressed the Workout button and we were taken to the workout screen. Here the performance information was repeated under the Goal heading, and there were buttons under the Performed heading to allow me to record what I did this session. The Quality slider bar was available for me to judge how well, in comparison to the success criteria, Bob did during this training session. Bob usually performs the steps, but needs to continue to do them to improve before moving on to the next step. I decided that I would use the DATT Timer and Counter tool to help me keep track of things, so I pressed this button and the tool window appeared. At the top of the window was 5-minute maximum duration for the session. As soon as we began the session, I could press the Start button and the time would count down. It gives a 5-short beep tone before the timer actually does the countdown so we can get ready. As soon as the Start button is pressed, the button changes to Stop. By pressing this, the countdown is stopped. In the middle of the window are the number of iterations and the clicker function. When Bob does the step correctly, I press the plus iteration button no matter what the quality of the performance was. I'll adjust for the quality when I return to the workout window. Sometimes Bob is distracted or doesn't understand what to do and messes up, so I press the minus iteration button. These two buttons help me keep track of the 80% success rule. Each time either of the iteration buttons were pressed, the iteration performed count increased. In my case, I forgot to press the start timer, so as soon as I pressed the iteration button, the clock automatically started. Both the plus and minus iterations made the same sound until I reached a point where I wasn't achieving an 80% success rate, and the clicker told me a warning each time we didn't complete the task correctly. After a few warnings, I decided it was best to stop this step and to try again later, so I pressed the Done button to return to the workout window. I knew I could either try something simpler, like returning to a previous step, or lower the distraction, or choose a reward with a higher value in another training session, so it was best to go on. Back at the workout window, the number of iterations performed were already showing in the button under the Performed heading. I adjusted the quality of the workout to 30% since we didn't do well on our initial attempt. I did not want to continue to the next step, so I was careful not to press the This Workout Completes the Step button. I knew that would move me on to the next step the next time we worked out together. However, I did press the Save button in the upper right corner to save the results of this training session. Since this workout was over, I continued to press the button in the upper left corner of the window to get back to the home screen. Over the next 3 days, Bob and I continued to work together on Step 1, each time increasing the number of times he performed the step correctly, and the quality of the overall training session increased. I could have pressed the This Workout Complete Step button on the workout window, but instead, I pressed the Step button in the upper left-hand corner of that workout window, and then I pressed the Step Completed button to complete this step. So why 2 buttons? I'm sure it is because there are times when Bob doesn't need an intermediate step, so we can complete the step without any workouts and move ahead. I decided to check on Bob's progress, so I pressed the Statistics button in the tab bar at the bottom of the window, and I saw how we progressed. The graph had the number of iterations for this step on the vertical axis, and the dates and times of the workouts on the horizontal axis. Each point was the product of the iterations and the quality. The iterations and quality of the point were listed beside each point. It was great to see we'd made such progress.